he seems to know his dazzle. He's not messing around.
He ain't messing around. So true.
Sometimes I see these like old school players like me try and play dazzle, and we're playing it the wrong way apparently.
You say it though. We have seen the dazzle before, and that was the game they lost against Rune Eaters.
It wasn't the dazzle's fault though.
I'm not saying it was either, but I'm saying they did lose with it.
Their whole draft was just bad, but they got better at drafting. You know, we did the interview with them. They said they just had a bad draft that game.
Yeah. Ooh, Alex Snap.
Well, this time their tri-lane would be a lot better if that ended up happening again. But we don't know who the carry is yet. Like, our outsider's just going to kind of run the exact same thing. Like, get the CK. I personally don't like it into Tiny Snap Enigma, but they did just use it to, like, dumpster the lanes last time. So if they want to do the same thing, they could.
I mean, this is interesting to me. It's like, you get to learn from a good Dazzle player of what a Dazzle needs to be successful.
Yeah.
Necro Dazzle, alright.
I mean, it was banned in the next phase. Last game.
Yeah, we're gonna see the POS 4 DK again, most likely. Hype.
Hypers.
Hypers.
Yeah, this is a rough one. We have not seen Alk ever match up well into this Necro. Like, Necro, last time we saw this matchup, I think he was just diving the tower pretty early, killing the Alk, killing the Alk, killing the Alk. I think the only thing I liked from the previous draft, though, is having something that can run at the Alk in the jungle and kind of kill him. Like, they had Puck Tiny, like, they were tossing Puck onto heroes to get, like, the coil off, like, basically giving him a free Blink Dagger, and they don't have that this time, especially if this DK goes POS 4. So, like, yeah, they dive him in the lane, but then they need to be able to pressure him in the jungle, which I don't see in a hero. I can see in a playstyle, like, if they come and take tower, then, yeah, they can just kind of take over his whole jungle and, like, really restrict the places that Alk can play. He also has, like, an Enigma who's a pretty greedy core as well. So there's a lot of, like, farm that's going to need to be shed if the map gets restricted.
Yeah.
Do you like the Zeus going mid because, one, it's a better matchup, GPK has always looked good on it, compared to the Dragon Knight potentially being flexed there?
Yeah, well, I think on Outsiders right now, GPK should just go mid on the Zeus. It's really good. Necro's going to follow the Alchemist and laning stage. All I need from Ramses right now is to not grief the game with his pick, which means he just needs to play something aggressive and fast, because this Zeus and Necro are going to do most of your damage, and they just need a stun. So I'd be okay with him playing the Dragon Knight, him playing a Monkey King. I mean, a CK would have been fine too. He needs to play something fast. If he picks, like, you know, just random example, Terrorblade or something, I would hate that.
Okay.
I don't want him to farm. I want him to get aggressive. There's plenty of farm on the map here.
But how do you feel about, like, something greedy but synergistic like a Faceless Void with Zeus?
Stun is fine. As long as he
It's
plays
stun?
a
Okay.
stun,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Being active, like, pretty much Zeus and Necro are going to do most of your damage this game. Heroes just need to get stunned, because they'll just walk away otherwise.
Yeah.
So Monkey King, Dragon Knight carries fine with me in a game like this. Faceless Void is okay. One of the slower options. I'd prefer fast. Because I think they can just run over this Alk again pretty easily.
Okay, well, if it's Dragon Knight 1, then what's 4 that you'd like? That matches
I mean,
the
what's left? I don't know,
you gotta think of both sides of the coins if you're giving me 2 options here.
I mean, for spirits, I don't know, like, what's left. I mean, it could be anything they could
Hoodwink?
do. They could pick Treant Protector for all I care to cancel Black Hole.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad.
The lane would be incredibly strong with Necro. Like, I don't think they're gonna do that, but just if Dragon Knight's just your stun, you have some options. Just another stun for melee to protect Necro in lane. The world is your oyster. You can pick whatever you want.
They could do a Nyx, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
You'd just be, like, able to walk into Black Hole with your Carapace on.
Where's the stun carry?
Stun carry, baby. It lives through Black Hole. It's pretty good.
Okay, I have not seen Wraith King for a little bit of time.
Don't mind
See you
me.
cuddling that pillow over there. But yeah, I haven't seen Wraith King in a little while, so I want to bring in T-Panda and Harry Freak and get some of their thoughts about it. Harry Freak, you can give me all the knowledge on this Wraith King last pick. Do you like it? Are outsiders taking this game?
I'm liking it in the sense that it can stay in the lane for a long time and it can push the towers. Though I think if the game is a little bit more slowed down, which this one should be compared to the other one, BetBoom will at least get to play the game.
Okay, that's a silver lining. That is good. I like to hear a little bit of hope for the underdog. But T-Panda, any interesting stats you want to give us or some information?
I guess, I mean, Fear already talked about the early game. The laning stage needs to go better for BetBoom. I think they just need to convert all those map pings they have accumulated. 329 map pings during the course of this tournament into actual comms and play. So, I don't know.
That's a lot of pings. That's actually a very good stat, one I was not expecting. So thank you. Now you guys have a little bit more info from T-Panda and Harry Freak. Quickly, predictions. BetBoom, is the lane's going to go better? Are they going to win this?
I mean, the lanes can't go worse than last game.
That's what I like
So,
to
yeah.
hear.
I'm a really big fan of mid snap, so I'll go with BetBoom.
Okay, all right. Of course she's going to go with
I love
BetBoom.
mid snap.
She doesn't. But game 2, we'll see how the mid-snap does play out with T-Panda and Harry Freak.
Well, she said it. I mean, mid Snapfire, you can't say no to this once you get to see it in action. But Laurel had a good performance in game number 1. I think is Snapfire good enough to accumulate into a better early game for them, or does it just really go down and boil down to the safe lane, Harry?
I'm actually liking the mid snap just because you don't have a lot of things that are gonna be able to cancel his ulti from afar. I was kind of afraid of a position 4 snap also because of the laning phase, but now Force Major and Notice are gonna have a really solid lane. Tiny Enigma, I've always praised this lane as I'd say the Tiny is the best hero you can pair with the Enigma, and Snapfire having the early Mortimer's Kisses gives you so many chances to kill the Zeus. It doesn't matter if he uses the Heavenly Jump, he's not gonna get far enough away. So I'm liking this from BetBoom. I have to say I'm hopeful that finally and me are gonna be casting their game in Division 1 that they do get to win.
Gotta say, I love that that Pudge spray there on the stairs as well. Like, what is that supposed to depict?
I don't know where it is.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Panda.
It is pretty wild, though. Anyway, one thing I did like as the bounty contest is about to start is the deep ward Force Major actually placed down. He's got the boots already, so maybe some courier snipe shenanigans or something like that might happen to get some extra money for BetBoom in the laning stage. As you know, it is one of those deep wards once again placed down to scout out the movements that are happening behind the lane. Let's see if they can get something done with that.
Yeah, the big thing though is that the Dazzle has a ward on the cliff as well, so he's kind of gonna be seeing where the Tiny is going. Yes, that is the idea, because what Force Major wants to do is always be on the side, and then you see a courier. If you see that outsiders are being a bit less aggressive, you can't toss them back. You have already prevented them from pulling. Then you get the couriers. It would be a really good thing, but that ward from the Dazzle actually keeping tabs on the Tiny, I don't think that's gonna be happening too much.
Trying to starve out the Wraith King and the Dazzle out of all the possible regen that they're going to be bringing into the lane, so it could be something to think about. We'll actually look at some early harass in the mid lane. GPK taking a bit of a beating there from Laurel. Has level 2 before him, though. This is something you have to keep in mind when you're playing against the Snapfire, the deadliness of that level 2.
Deadliness at any point from this hero, actually. It is just insane how much damage it does.
Which one has the better jump? Zeus or Snap?
Zeus, dude, it's heavenly. It's the jump of the gods, and this is pretty much your classic grandma making a cookie, though. Not to take away a lot of it from grandmas, they're important, but I guess gods are gonna be up there as well.
It was good. It was a good analysis up to that part, for sure. But yeah, it is one of those things that will maybe help the Zeus at least to dodge some of those cookie attempts for sure. But in the top lane, we've got ourselves a bit of a scuffle, and DM is the one being targeted. Does get the Death Pulse out just in time for a bit of extra healing, so Soneko and the Hawk don't look for their first kill in the lane. But that would have been a fantastic start for the Hawk and Soneko if they actually got DM's Necrophos out of the way, who, by the way, has the only Necrophos win out of the 3 Necro games we've seen in Division 1 so far.
And I think that Necro was played against the Alchemist as well. So it's he definitely knows what he's doing. I also liked how Yamich and DM split there, because if they both stayed in the cogs, they would have taken so much damage that it would have been a big hit to their heals on the top lane. So Yamich just killed the cogs and split to the left. If they both got hit by the concoction, it really would have been bad for him.
Yep. Hakoda. Hakoda's trying to get the kill on Force Major, but the Poison Touch does run out, so he's unable to keep the harass up on the Tiny. Tiny with 0 armor. Does take a hefty amount of damage in that battle. The Hawk is also pretty low here in this lane, but at least the DK is completely out of mana. I won't be able to harass the Hawk anymore and gets the salve up as well. 14-7 in the CS department in the top lane, so that's definitely going in the Necro's favor.
For now, Outsiders are really doing well in the lanes. The Hawk and Soneko tried to be a bit more aggressive, but the Hawk was really missing a lot of CS. I think Soneko created enough space for him to... He needed to have a bit more, I'd say, in terms of how much space Soneko created. But now, he's dead.
That's the most important part there, at least for them, as they will take down Soneko. First blood taken. The Hawk vulnerable, being alone in the lane for a tiny bit. But yep, Outsiders continue what they started off in game number 1. Getting the first blood again.
This is the start is not looking good for BetBoom. It seems like they're a little bit phased, or Outsiders are just that damn good at the laning phase. Enigma and the Tiny, with Enigma pretty much not getting anything. This is the least amount of CS that you can expect, that some of those are from the skeletons as well. So Notice definitely not having a good time, and really good lane control coming out from the side of Outsiders here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Notice would like to get a bit of a better advantage against the Wraith King, because in terms of how the matchup goes between these two heroes, usually the Enigma does come out on the strong end. So Dazzle does get the Poison Touch connection on the Eidolons, and that one spell almost takes down the entire stack of them. So that's something to keep an eye open for, as he's already put 2 points in it.
Yeah, Koda definitely likes playing his Dazzle, especially against the Enigma. He's a big nuisance to the Eidolons, and you can see how good he's positioning. He bought the boots early on, understanding that he would be tossed back a lot of times if he doesn't have the extra movement speed.
Trying to get the multiplied Eidolons to do some damage onto the Wraith King. Jukes inside the trees as that Malefice duration also runs out.
Middle tower is under attack.
Ramses is still doing a great job with keeping up that CS. And with the Wraith Kings as well, in most cases, like even when they leave the lane, if they have a tough time, they just go to the jungle, they come out huge. And in terms of BetBoom, when you look at the aggression that the heroes are potentially able to apply, be very hard for him. But in the top lane, battling against Yamich, trying to make a run out of the cogs, get pushed back. There's a concoction. And look at that. The mortar just come flying in, and with just one singular connection, we'll take down Yamich and we'll take down DM. Soneko does get killed by the urn and the catapult in the end, so it's a split kill. But it's a very important rotation from Laurel to help out with Alchemist getting himself some free time.
To be honest, they had a ward there from the side of Outsiders. I was like, Laurel, that was such a great move. He was waiting for the Necro to come close to the cog so that he can use the Mortimer's Kisses to kill both of them. But they actually saw him on vision, so definitely a mistake coming out from DM. The second that he saw the TP from Laurel, he should have been out of there.
Oh, it's Laurel, though, getting in a bit of a trouble situation, surrounded by 3. Very good avalanche there from Force Major. And are they going to play the risky play? They will try. But the toss there, throwing Hakoda into the air to get a tie-up kill. Losing Laurel does sting a bit. And Zeus also popping the DD rune for himself, but not actually making a move towards bottom. Notice is already playing safe.
That is, you know, Laurel deciding to fight till death. He was probably already dead because Dazzle got so many right clicks into him, so you're very, very slow. Every single hit is gonna be slowing you even more, and, you know, he kind of made do with his death, so just wants to rotate immediately now towards the bottom lane.
Oh, Yamich inside the jungle. He's already put down a sentry to block one camp, and Soneko drops down his, but he can't find it. It's out of vision. It's out of range in this case, so he won't be able to. But it's not actually doing too much harm for the Hawk. I was hoping that DK would have actually just popped a double sentry down to block both of those camps, but instead Will only block one of them on the way.
So BetBoom have made do with not being able to protect the top lane too well. So that's why you're seeing Laurel just forcing the bottom lane so much. Alchemist has left the top lane immediately. He's using the time to be in the mid lane, and BetBoom are just going for this tower. This is, I think, something that BetBoom does the best out of all the teams, and that is understanding when their mid laner can rotate to your off lane and get the tower early on.
I love how Notice and Laurel, like Laurel doesn't want to tank the tower, but Notice doesn't want the Eidolons to tank the tower, so they're swapping the aggro between the Snap and the Dolans. But that's a tower down in pre-8 minutes, which is pretty good for BetBoom. And we'll open up the map a bit.
Now, BetBoom, you can see how much emphasis they're putting in protecting the top part of the map as well. And with the bottom lane open, it's going to be much easier to do so. You can see already a ward there at the outpost. This time around, BetBoom are going to be ready for outsiders. And given that the laning phase didn't go as bad as last time, it's not going to be as easy for outsiders to stay. Okay, they get a D-ward and they even steal the stacks. Why? Because GPK, he has an arcane rune. So yeah, I guess Panda, it is rigged.
Yeah, it is a bit rigged. Once again, with the arcane runes, so might as well. And important moves as well. I mean, Zeus is a really good hero pick in sense of playing against the Alchemist is because they're able to steal these stacks. But here we go. The Mortimer's Kiss is flying on top of the Necrophos. Only a couple ticks coming flying in. The burn's still there, but the salve is broken as there was still a lingering dot on top of DM. Doesn't matter. It will take Soneko. Did not get the Reaper Scythe out though, so he will not get any permanent stacks for himself. Yamich deep in the jungle with GPK strolling around. It'll target Laurel maybe, but Yamich will go down. BetBoom will get a recovery kill. Soneko's also back in action. Would love to hit that level 6 as soon as possible. Like maybe give it the tone to the clockwork, get that hook shot available as soon as possible, and maybe make some plays with it.
I'm liking GPK got 1 point in the lightning bolt. Every single time I see Zeus's just skip the lightning bolt completely. They maybe get it level 9 when they have 3 points in the heavenly jump, but I think that 1 point in it is really big. Especially you're playing against the Snapfire, you're playing against the Enigma, so being able to cancel those spells is gonna be big. Though what I'm even more impressed with is Yamich and the way he's playing this Dragonite. So usually you wouldn't see a Dragonite as a kind of invade your territory hero, but you can see he's already drawing lines. That is where he wants to walk around, and if he dies there, it really doesn't matter because he's giving so much info to his team, and in the meantime not really allowing the Alchemist to farm that part of the map as well.
Yeah. And this is the area where Outsiders is basically able to move without too much of a fear of BetBoom forcing out some aggression inside their own jungle because they've already blocked a couple camps. So they're basically, well, I mean, we'll just rotate towards the triangle. Bottom tower's taken away. BetBoom's able to farm around this area and get Dahak online as soon as possible. 1,100 or 1,100 gold away from that Sacred Relic.
Both teams managing to control the opponent's outpost. That is something that outsiders have forced out pretty much. When playing against the Alchemist, you're not allowing the side of BetBoom to control the top part of the map, and naturally you're gonna have the opening to take the bottom part of the map around the outpost if you're BetBoom. So that is something that we don't see ever since the rune swap changed. It's not in the triangle, it's there, so teams do put more emphasis in defending their area rather than taking the opponents.
One thing you talked about Yamich, about the DK support. What I really love about this is this, you know, your basic budget blink stun initiator who's also capable of wave clearing and hitting towers. So you can happily die on the other side of the map while pushing to get some damage, and still have BetBoom having to then push out the lanes, basically. So you always talk about these good deaths that you can have on the opponent's side of the map because they're not able to get towards any objective or get a follow-up from that. So I think DK sits very well into the picture, and especially once he gets that Blink Dagger.
It feels super bad to even chase him to kill him, you know, so you don't want to kill him, you just want to allow him to be there, but then he is giving so much vision to his team.
First Major will spot the gank squad that is approaching. Able to toss away with the avalanche, and Zeus ain't even able to kill this Tiny. Enigma also moving around the area. He's finished the Spirit Vessel, so on the positive side for him, won't be nuked in one quick go. Has a bit of extra tankiness thanks to that. But he is far away from
Spirit Vessel as well.
Yeah. We usually just see the urn.
Dire's
You are
guess
playing
you
against the
have it because
Alchemist.
of that.
attack.
I mean the
Necro.
Enigma.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Either way, I mean, I think that BetBoom, with the way that they open up the map, they're in such a good position this game in terms of allowing the Hawk to farm. Is that farm going to be enough? That's another question entirely, because in the later portions of the game, the Wraith King does deal pretty solid with these tanky heroes, because he just cuts them down with the Mortal Strike. But this is just day and night difference from the previous game, and I think it comes down to Lara's rotations towards the Enigma. Last time around, you were trying to salvage your safe lane. This time around, you know, even though your safe lane wasn't doing well, it wasn't doing too badly, and you put a lot of emphasis in just opening the map. Just a really good move coming out from Laurel in this game in
Dire's middle
particular.
tower is under attack.
Yeah, those two rotations have both led into kills. 2-1 and 2. Second and net worth, followed up by DM's Necrophos, who has basically just been farming. Who has also finished that Spear Vessel you were talking about to counter the Alchemist, which is a good one to have, though. Alchemist with his BKB. Is the Radiant's BKB now the timing, or do you feel Alchemist needs a third item to be able to really have that online factor?
You fight when you get the blink. The BKB is to survive, literally.
That took a couple attempts, but finally Sonek able to get the connection. That's a 1-for-1 trade. Also DM picking up his first Reaper side stack out of this kill. Soneko probably cast canceled 6-7 times, but he was able to get the follow-up or the jump in.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Really good move from BetBoom.
Radiant's middle tower
Running
is
towards the
under
mid lane
attack.
immediately, and then they see the Necro. You're just seeing how both of these teams are playing the map really well. The movements are there, and no one is really willing to go to the
Radiant's
opponent's side of the
bottom
map. I
tower is
think
under
this is,
attack.
you know, it hasn't always been the story for
Dire's
the
middle
Eastern
tower
European
is under
region,
attack.
and now they're starting to implement some aggression, but you're kind of seeing just the mirror movements coming out from this one, and I'd say BetBoom are going to be quite happy with that, because Alchemist hits the timing first out of him and the Wraith King.
That is so hard for Soneko to get close without the hook shot. We
structures
just saw
are
him
fortified.
quickly walk in to drop the cogs, and he's already lost about 70% of his HP pool. But Necrophos, is he too deep? He's going to get tossed under the tier 2 tower into the cogs.
No.
And an opportunity arises, but he gets the Ghost Shroud. And
comes
Enigma is
Enigma.
also TPing in, but notice what is the path he's going to look for. He knows the Zeus is there, and the Hawk is dead. The Hawk's just dead.
I thought the Hawk, other than using the acid spray, wouldn't even think of joining the fights before he has the BKB. So the BKB you get so that you can join defensive fights, and then you get the blink so that you can be on the offensive. BetBoom, I understand the urge to defend that mid lane tower, but you know, you still don't defend it, and your guy dies. This gives space for Yamich to farm his blink, and that is gonna be big. This is the timing outsiders are looking for. Dead mid lane tower, and you're gonna have your blink initiation at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And again, another stack taken away as soon as Alchemist is dead. They just waltz in with the Zeus and the Necrophos, who quickly clean out any neutral cap that's available for them to take. And they are also increasing their good old net worth here as well. We see the Kaya Sanj for the Zeus is about to be ready. As soon as he goes back to base, waits in the fountain for a couple seconds, he'll have it.
Dire are scanning.
So Laurel is going for a blink shard. I like this. I don't think you should be reliant on Soneko getting all of the initiations out. I think a big difference to why outsiders got this this early advantage now is that Soneko wasn't trying to bait kills on him. He was trying to make kills happen, and Yamich was trying to bait kills on him. So he was constantly pulling BetBoom towards him, whereas outsiders were kind of moving wherever they want.
DM is baiting in the lane. He's waiting for BetBoom to jump in while the rest of the squad has just smoked in, and one of the smokes pops on Yamich, but they don't see him. The ward is too deep, and Yamich goes in for the blink stun to get the clock work. The cookie save's going to be there. DM gets the first vessel charge at least. Getting damage dealt, and noticed. Has he gone a bit too deep here? Not really. They've got the Mortimer's Kisses to
There's a
follow
grave.
up on this, and the Grave Sage is coming in. Force Major looking for the next target. Throws in Hakoda under the tower. That will be Soneko and Force Major both down, and Notice
This
he's
is
trying
exactly
to get
where he
out of
wants to
there,
be.
but this is so bad at the moment. Notice getting burnt in front of the tier 3 tower, and outsiders making every correct play.
Fortified.
getting a set of 3 kills from BetBoom.
Is under attack.
There is no way that BetBoom can set up a fight in a defensive manner because you're up against the Necrophos plus the Dazzle. Even if you get the toss off, the Necro isn't gonna die fast enough. Cloak, Spirit Vessel, and he even has the Plate Mail, so he is pretty much dealing with all of the damage types going his way. He will survive long enough, and there, you know, the toss on Hakoda, Force Major, he tosses him in, but Hakoda is like, yeah, sure, I didn't have the blink, and I sure as hell wanted to be at that position, so he just crushes the rest of them as well. This Dazzle is working out wonders for the side of Outsiders in game 1 and game 2 as well.
Definitely. And now, what can BetBoom do at the current moment? Because feels like they're gonna have to play defensive for a bit longer. Alchemist, he's lining up the Blink Dagger. It's gonna be his next item. He is loading up the stun. Gonna be landing it onto the DK with an Endless Rune also taken away from them. But there's the great save. DPK is gonna get Black Hole, and that will be a very important kill for BetBoom. There's no grave to save that they just used. And Hookshot misses though, and maybe a second one. DM is down. Outsiders have just lost 3 heroes. And BetBoom looking for more with the Dazzle. Almost getting the stun connection there with a cookie. The Hawk burning. And Saneko with the rocket flare. Make sure that these fireworks, it ain't New Year's, but it is a celebratory kill as they take down Hakoda, making it 4 for BetBoom and a mid-tier 1 tower.
Radiant's middle tower has
This is the
fallen.
difference when Outsiders are positioned well, pushing in the tower and waiting for a fight, and when they're just kind of running around on runes and trying to find some opening around the map. So BetBoom, they can never fight, and they should never fight when the enemies are in good position, but whenever they are kind of transitioning between lanes and trying to catch someone, that is when you should strike, and this is how the fights are usually gonna end up, when Noticed can get to a good point and catch the Zeus with his Black Hole. I think that was the main thing there, because if the Zeus is dead, the damage from Outsiders it just isn't there.
Laurel gets his TP is cancelled as GPK and Yamage with the scouting ulti, despite Snap being able to dodge once, won't be able to dodge twice, and that's an important pick-off for them. Saneko is lining up in mids. They just don't have the damage to deal with a DM Necrophos at this stage.
Into
So they
Roche.
will let him go, and they're going straight to Roche as Ramsey's armlet Deso, good to go.
That's a really bad death coming out from Laurel. He really didn't need to push out that far. You need the Mortimer's Kisses to be able to at least somewhat threaten the Roche bit. You know, you're using the rocket flares. If the enemies start committing, you can use the Mortimer's Kisses and actually get in. Now, with no Black Hole, no Mortimer's Kisses threatening you, this Roche is just gone, so it's gonna be a pretty easy pickup for Outsiders.
Roche for tier 2, not even tier 2, as the glyph has been burned to keep the Hawk away from taking it. So that being the Aegis going in the hands of the Necrophos, DM, carrier of it. Wraith King doesn't really need it at this stage of the game, maybe later on, but right now, DM, a very important carrier for it too. Plus, the Lotus Orb, 2000 HP to burn through. A lot of healing, which can sometimes bait maybe BetBoom to thinking that they can kill the Necrophos. A very good carrier for the Aegis.
It's insane. You have the heal amp from the grave as well, so this Necro will pretty much never die. If he gets graved and uses the Ghost Shroud, he's coming back up to full immediately, and he even has the Lotus Orb to remove the Spirit Vessel. Really, as I said, really bad move from Laurel. At that point in the game, when you don't have a Black Hole and the enemy could be threatening Roche, you have to die on the opponent's side of the map, and it shouldn't be a core, it should be a support, while your cores are playing relatively defensive and even, you know, sacrificing some farm. That is what you get. You won the team fight, so you need to sacrifice some farm right now.
They are dodging every single attempt from Outsiders here with this smoke. They're all gone, but that bottom tier 2 tower at 70 HP. They can still teleport to defend it if they want to look for an opening there at some point. But BetBoom is going the other way, approaching from the top area, hoping to invade this triangle for most likely the first time this game. BetBoom has not been living around this area. Ramses has been freely farming. Secondary smoke coming in from Outsiders from the bottom half of the map. They're desperate for a kill.
On the top part of the map, you can kill them deep. On the bottom part of the map, you can't really go into the triangle. It's too dangerous. It's too deep.
They're on division. This is very scary for BetBoom because Outsiders know exactly where they are currently. They just need to stack up and look for their openings here. They saw the Tiny on the high ground, which is a good opener. They would love to kill that level 17 Alchemist if possible.
Radiant's
It's on the
top
ground,
tower is
burning the
under attack.
Radiance. Yamich. He's been spotted with the rocket flare. The Hawk will not move.
Expected his use ult there, but you can see that Virtus Pro, they have really clear lines where they're going to be fighting, and those clear lines are pretty much 65% of the map, which is enough. If you're controlling 65% of the map, that is where you can fight. Then it is enough if you're playing against the Alchemist. You have shut them down enough so that he can't get out of control.
Yeah, now they basically they've had enough. They TP to the tower, they take down Soneko. They're done running behind, but Ramses, the one without the Aegis, is going to get caught off. First TP is coming in with the Dazzle. They get this kill on the Wraith King without him killing anybody else. And there's the Grave at the back, but Laurel, he misses the stun. He dodges with the Force Staff, looks for the Grave. Will be able to keep the Wraith King alive a bit longer, but the Black Hole only taking 50% of the HP for Wraith King. Now Salkoda will go down, and Ramses is down as well. Yami's gonna get stunned up by the Hawk, blinking right in, and here's the Mortimer's Kisses. Burn, baby, as they throw it in and take down 3. They kill the Wraith King twice and make sure they get this one. Lightning Bolt misses and enables Notice to go for the blink stun. Force Major frozen to toss the Lotus Orb, to toss him backwards, but it won't help this time. TPK looking for something, but a triple for the Hawk, and now DM. He wants Force Major.
Left
He's
alone.
body blocking the guy. He doesn't want him to let him get close, and that's going to be a full-on team wipe as the Aegis is popped. And they need to move out. They're about to respawn as well, but they're happy with that. They kill all 5 heroes, of one being the Aegis. And that is a big victory for BetBoom.
Okay, BetBoom, they have written some rules for themselves in this game. Do not fight if the enemies are initiating. They are not going into the situations where they're going to be saving their heroes, so push out the top lane as farther as you can as a core. And now it's going to be time for Soneko to go and have some of those good deaths, because you don't have the black hole, so outsiders are going to be making some moves.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
DM is pretty deep in. There's the haste rune at least to get out with the Force Major. He's just outside of vision. Ramses is going in with a blink. Almost gets the stun on the Tiny, but he's faster. Able to get out. Enigma also close to his BKB. And one curious thing, he's level 14 on the Enigma. He's maxed out every other spell except for the Black Hole. He hasn't put the second point in it, which I'm a bit curious about, but it seems to work out for him.
It's working out for now. Usually people, if they think they're not going to be using the black hole much, they tend to leave it at level 1. Though, to be honest, every single time they have a black hole, they'll be wanting to fight on the bottom lane.
Hook shot in. Along to DM, the target that they want to kill, the one that cannot necessarily hold his ground.
They found Hakoda.
DM able to get out on the side. Of course, Major keeps Hakoda away out of the fight. There's his Reaper's Scythe, and Clockwork will go down to the Death Pulse. And the Hawk, running out of firepower here, has to back away. BetBoom down by a hero. Outsiders coming in from the side. Yamich also popped his dragon form some time ago. They're not going in.
That's a good death. Reaper Sight used. The Thunder God's Wrath used on the part of the map where even if you die, there's not going to be anything for outsiders to take. And BetBoom are going to be very happy with that one. The Reaper Sight doesn't even give a kill to DM, so he's down. He only has 1 charge, and that is something that you don't see too often with the Necrophos, especially when you are doing well in the game, which outsiders were on until like 5 minutes ago.
What I really like about Outsiders is, against this Clockwork, they're actually building multiple Force Staffs. So it's not just one guy who has it, as Dazzle also needs his own means of getting closer or dodging abilities. Like we saw Laurel jumping onto the Dazzle, but Dazzle able to dodge the first stun and dodging the Cookie then with the Force Staff to get the Grave onto the Wraith King. But having a secondary on Yamich, which will definitely help out.
Ideally, for BetBoom now, they have the black hole. You would love to force out another fight on the bottom lane and then catch outsiders on the transition towards the Roche with that black hole. So right now, I'm not sure why they're afraid. They don't really have to. They can play the bottom part of the map as they want. Okay, they're actually preparing for a smoke. That's the idea.
And it's coming straight out of the darkness, though. Top lane is not pushed in, but they're drawing on the map, and so is, I think, Yamich is also drawing some circles that they're heading towards the triangle. And DM was about to walk in. Scans are on cooldown. Dahak will find the Dazzle. This is a different Alchemist compared to game number 1. 27 minutes with a lot of items in his backpack.
Radiant's
his
top tower
inventory in general. And now he's about to finish off the nullifier, but they're TPing in to defend the outpost, as Yamich is the one who wants to take it away from them. But here we go with BKB pretty preemptively cast by Laurel. Doesn't want to get interrupted, so they will get a kill with the BKB, and a Mortimer's Kiss is used.
Literally, he wants the BKB to use it with the Mortimer's Kisses. It pretty much has almost the same cooldown. The reason for this is the Nimbus. So you got the BKB for that one. I don't think Laurel will be going super deep in unless he sees a Nimbus already been cast. Then he can maybe go for his Mortimer's Kisses without the BKB.
True. That is actually true. You see the Nimbus is already up on the Zeus with that Aghanim's finished. Working on a Blink Dagger with the Shard to get himself the static field.
Really cool 1-2 move from BetBoom. They went for a smoke towards the top lane. They got a tower and they said if they go for our outpost, we will immediately TP there. And they have a few boots of travel to help them. Both their cores, the position 1 and 2, have them, and the tiny TP to the outpost itself. So this is now the idea. You're controlling your top outpost when the Roche is coming through. Considering that you're the dire side now without tier 1 and 2 on the top lane, this is your best access point you can have to the pit.
They're going for a smoke on 4 with Outsiders. DM again baiting in the mid lane with his haste rune popped. Roche has just respawned.
Very fast Roche.
Showing themselves in the mid lane. Yeah, that was a pretty fast Roche shot spawn, but he would need a pick off, or at least win a team fight with it. But BetBoom is ready.
They're coming. Just needs the ulti right now.
This would be a good moment for the scouting ulti, but BetBoom is gonna get the jump in first. Rocket Fire misses. There we go. The blinks up in cancel. Gonna jump straight onto the Necrophos. DM's gonna be targeted here as BetBoom will look for the first kill. DM
at the grave.
The grave does come out from Hakoda. And notice on the back line, they will be isolating the Wraith King completely. So it was just a bait on the front line because they're jumping the back to take down Ramses. The Nimbus is there to cancel the Enigma Black Hole. And they're in the front line. Laurel is looking for DM, isolating Hakoda and GPK from the fight. And BetBoom will look for 2, look for 3 as Yamich isolated. BetBoom, what a team fight for them. They're constantly able to drive Outsiders in the spot they shouldn't be in. And GPK found the Hawks right next to him, but can he get the TP cancelled? GPK, he chooses the right trees to TP away from, so he won't get cancelled.
The reason I wanted to use the ulti there is because once the fight starts, even if you see everything from the side of Outsiders, there is nothing that you can do about it. Your heroes are good at staying in position. If BetBoom are coming from the sides and breaking up your composure, you're not staying the way you should, you will lose that fight. So I understand GPK's idea there. Once our smoke breaks, I use the Thunder God's Wrath to see them, but at that point, it's too late. You need to use the Thunder God's Wrath and get yourself out before BetBoom actually get into a good position to fight.
Got themselves the Nimbus quickly cast into the Roche pit for some vision, but Outsiders, they're not going to make it in time for this one. This Roche is in the arms of BetBoom. Laurel with the Aegis. Shard is still on the ground, but the fight breaks loose in the front line as Force Major is tanking Ramses at the current moment. Tosses him away, but he will eventually fall down, and Force Major down. Will be a kill for Outsiders. The instant smoke to look for more.
They have the Reaper sight. Oh no. Oh, they jumped on the illusion.
Oh boy.
Dire's middle tower is under
Doesn't look like
attack.
they're going to be finding themselves any hero on the outskirts of BetBoom's base. Laurel is back as well inside the base. Shadow Blade has been popped. 15 seconds for Tiny. Dangerous moments here for Outsiders. Laurel gonna walk into Yamich. Will spot him. Gets the blink stun right away there with the scatter shot. Now just pummeling down this DK. Yamich about to fall with a hook shot onto 2. Will catch GPK and DM both inside it. GPK able to walk out at least, and DM still inside as Ramses goes into the back line and tries to fight, but he's on the run. His BKBs used the disengage. Dahak will throw the stun onto Hakoda. Dazzle down. Dahak still chasing with a blink. Will get one. Cookie stun will connect onto the Necrophos as well. Ramsey's able to blink out just in time, but Force Major 3 seconds for his blink to be back up as they're chasing DM and won't be able to get into the Wraith King on time, but they will look for this Necrophos kill nevertheless. And Laurel with the double kill on that. And Outsiders, it took them a bit too long in front of that tier 2 tower. They end up losing heroes.
Yeah,
Instant TP's bottom.
The thing is that this is what their lineup is good at. It's standing there. But, you know, twice or maybe even 3 times in this game, you were caught in the transition between lanes. And now BetBoom are strong enough that they can fight you even in a perfect position. I think what is left now for the side of Outsiders is for this Wraith King to be able to get the right initiation.
Oh, that was so close to get the connection, but GPK still going to be in trouble. Nevertheless, nowhere to run, nowhere to go. But the Dazzle Grave comes out from Hakoda. Hook shot connects onto Ramses. He's still cooled up for 5 seconds. He might just die before he gets the reincarnation off. He's down. The Wraith King is dead. DM as well in trouble. But no, this is very low on HP. Another grave from Hakoda to keep DM alive. And this dieback is a certainty. Just a second with the Reaper side connecting as well at the Laurel, but they can't kill the Aegis. They cannot kill the Granny. And that's Hakoda down as well. And Yamich, the final hero to survive, and he's getting burnt alive by the Huck. GG's call. We're going to game number 3 in the end, and BetBoom, they've brought this series to a tie.
Finally, we see BetBoom shining, and this is what they're good at. Just stable game, and then they are doing everything they should. There was one mistake of them when they ran into Outsiders on the top lane, but they instantly realized what the path to victory is, how to approach these team fights, and after a few losses of those team fights, Outsiders, even in a perfect position, they couldn't fight. The Mortimer's Kisses, the Alchemist just runs in and noticed, waits for his perfect situation for a black hole. BetBoom, they played this game really well with minimal mistakes, and Outsiders, I don't think, you know, after a few of those mistakes that you had much chance. They had a really straightforward lineup. They needed to be stronger at all times. Even if the Alchemist gets ahead, you need to be stronger than BetBoom. But if for some reason they can just run into you when you're perfectly positioned, that is when the game ends.
And they didn't get much out of that. Ramses Wraith King, he dealt 5,000 damage as well in this entire game for their team. And it was GPK and DM with the sources of damage. They had a good idea with their execution and the draft that they wanted, but BetBoom, they really amplified from what they learned from that last game, how to protect the Alchemist and how to establish control, taking that bottom tier 1 tower early on into the game and then get themselves the map control they wanted to get themselves that Alchemist online. But hey, that's game number 2. We're in a tie situation and we're looking for a victor. Important points on the line because the winner might just be going to either a tiebreaker or the major itself. We'll be back with the panel and then talk about what happened in this game.